Okay, welcome to my fourth quarter presentation. The title of my presentation Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Taken from the song Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. As many of you probably know, those are like the first lyrics, but I figured it fit my topic. Okay, so before we get to my topic, the book I chose to read was actually different from what I originally put down. I changed my book from, or not from, I don't even remember what I originally put down. But this one is Defying Reality by David Ewalt, and it basically talks about like the increase in technology and mostly virtual reality. Okay, yeah, a summary of the book. So again, talks about like different possibilities. It talked about how in the future there's going to be a lot more of like virtual virtual stuff going on, like more virtual reality. So instead of instead of like going outside and stuff, it's going to be a lot more like being inside, but you're going to be in the VR games, like talking with people and everything. Okay, as mentioned, my topic is virtual reality, and I chose this topic because I'm actually like really interested in this topic. I think it's really cool that you can completely like with just a one step kind of block out the entire world around you and be put in a completely different reality that could be pretty much whatever you want if you decide to make a game yourself, or yeah, you can basically do what you want. Okay, so the equipment I decided to include, it's pretty expensive. I do not have any sets, but I really want one. And as you can see right here, you have the headset that goes on. Not really sure what these are. Those might be like speakers or cameras or something. But anyway, you have the headset, and then you have the controllers that you hold in each hand. And when you go in the game, you basically, some of them, you're like a person where you have hands you can move around and pick things up and stuff. There's little triggers. We'll get into more of that later. So, big question a lot of people have is virtual reality versus augmented reality. Virtual reality completely blocks out the world around you, and you basically like have no idea what's happening around you when you are submerged in virtual reality, which is why if you look at videos, there's people like that run into walls and stuff, or maybe like knock things off shelves. And yeah, as you see by this picture up here, there's nothing around it. It's like you're interacting with other people, or these could be artificial intelligence things, so just robots in the game that could be like giving you instructions and stuff. But it's like you're an actual person in the game. And then this is augmented reality. You may recognize this app. It's Pokemon Go. Basically adds, with the use of a camera, it adds different effects to the world around you. So like here you see back here, it's like the normal world. It's kind of blurry and everything, but that's just the way the picture was taken. But yeah, you have the world back here. Obviously, Pikachu is not actually on the road, and there's no just floating Pokeball. But with augmented reality, it takes the world around you and adds stuff to make it more fun, which has also been implemented into different websites. So if you're planning on buying something, you can, like furniture, for example, you can see how it will look in a certain spot where you're planning to put it. Okay, so virtual reality was created a lot sooner than I actually expected it to have been. It's created by Ivan Sutherland, I think you pronounce it, and he was actually a scientist, and he had a student, Bob Sproul, and they actually created virtual reality together in the year 1968. So the future, VR, or virtual reality, VR, same thing, is going to, like the use of it is going to is expected to increase by very large amounts within the coming years. Right now it's 2020, and they said by 2022 it is expected that the revenue will have, or the $400 million you see there, that was like the revenue of virtual reality back in 2016. It's expected it's going to increase to 7.2 billion by the year 2022. Then up here, you see I have Netflix written. That's because it is expected within the next couple years that the amount of users of virtual reality will be equal to, if not more than, the amount of users on Netflix. Netflix is obviously not virtual reality. It's like a show and movie website you can use. Then I decided to include one of my favorite movies. It's just a really cool movie. It shows like the future, I guess, of what reality might be like, where if you actually watch it, it shows like a bunch of really small houses stacked on top of each other, and people basically spend most of their time in virtual reality in this thing called the Oasis, where they are able to do or be whatever they want. And I said movie or book because it was first a book, but it came out as a movie in, I believe, 2018. And it's a really interesting movie. I actually enjoyed it a lot. And then some games I'd like to try. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I do not actually own virtual reality headset or equipment because it's pretty expensive. I think the newest set that came out is like $800 or $900, and it's a headset and controllers. So yeah, it's pretty expensive. But here are the games. So Beat Saber, as you can see, this is the one up here. With the controllers, you basically have a lightsaber in each hand, and you see the red saber up here you hit the red blocks with, and the blue saber, which is over here, you hit the blue blocks with. And basically, you pick a song. You probably remember that game like Dance Dance Revolution or Just Dance. But you pick a song, and the beats of the song get sent out in these blocks with arrows, where you have to swipe in the direction of the arrows in order to break the blocks. And then up here you have to duck and kind of avoid things. So it's kind of like really interactive. Down here we have Super Hot, which is probably the game I want to try the most, honestly. It just looks really fun and interesting to be in. It's kind of like, or it kind of reminds me of The Matrix, because you have these guys or enemies coming after you, and when you're moving, or when you move, they start moving, but everything's in like slow motion. So you're moving, and you have to avoid their attacks. They'll be like shooting and throwing knives at you and stuff, and you'll have to kill them before they get to kill you. And I know that sounds violent, but it's not too violent, because these dudes are just made of glass, so when you kill them, they just kind of shatter. There's no blood or anything. And yeah. And then Richie's Plank Experience, another interesting game. I've seen videos of people play it, but basically you start off on the ground and you turn around and there's an elevator you can go up to. There's a couple settings. I think there's a firefighter setting, or a firefighter floor, and then the plank floor. The plank floor is like the main thing. That's why it's called the Plank Experience. And basically you're like 100 floors up in a building, and you come out of the elevator and there's a plank sticking out of the elevator that you can come out and walk on and look down. And it doesn't look that scary from the picture, but when you're in it and that's the only thing you're seeing, your brain doesn't know any better. So your brain is actually thinking this is real life, and you're looking like hundreds of feet down at the ground with nothing supporting you. But the firefighter thing, you get to go fight fires that are on buildings, and there's actually hoses where you can spray the hoses behind you, and they're powerful enough that you can go flying through the air, so you're kind of like a superhero. So really quick, I did decide to add a quick video of the game Super Hot, just to kind of give you a little more understanding of what these games are like. So here we go. Alright, so I hope that's not like. I hope that counts as school appropriate. I realize there's guns, but like there's no blood or anything. Alright, well that's it for my presentation. Here are the citations I used. I know they're not a lot, but yeah, really only citations I needed were like some statistics, which is this website, the AR versus VR, and then the when was virtual reality invented. So yes, thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I do want to say thank you for a great year, Miss Fallon. You've done a great job as a teacher, and I'm going to miss coming to your class next year.